This segment brought to you by Bravo Company USA.
Hey gang, Larry Vickers here. Welcome to the Vickers Tactical channel. This video is about the LAV Four Firearms Safety Rules, based on the NRA safety rules, but I put my LAV real-world spin on them. This is aimed specifically at new shooters. Remember, we got tens of thousands of new firearms owners in the first half of 2020. Welcome to the club. We welcome you with open arms. But also it's going to be beneficial for older shooters that might think they have these down pat. You might want to listen to my four safety rules. You might learn a couple things along the way. All right, now I've got an FN 509 mid-size pistol here, as I'm going to use as my demonstrator. Rule number one, know your target and what's beyond it. Understand something. This is a range, which means an artificial training environment. You see the big berm behind me, 12, 15 feet high. You see the steel targets. Neither one of those exist in the real world. If you ever get in a gunfight, heaven forbid, in the real world, you cannot count on a dirt backstop 12 feet high behind the bad guy. The range is not preparing you for the real world realities of knowing your target and what's beyond it. As a matter of fact, when you come to the range, you kind of see where the targets are, you see the bulletproof backstop, and that's the last anybody ever thinks about it. Human nature. You need to be aware of that. That's a little bit of what I call blind spot. Rule number two, treat guns as if they're loaded at all times. Humans don't do that. Now, we can repeat that message, we can understand that message, we can write it down, but we don't do it. What we really do is treat guns as if they're loaded as long as we're convinced they're loaded. As soon as we've convinced ourselves, right or wrong, that the gun is empty, we treat it as if it's made of plastic or wood. I see it all the time. All you gotta do is go to SHOT Show or a gun show or a gun shop, and you'll see people handling guns in terrible manners because they assume they're empty. Here's the problem with that. Most of the time, maybe the weapon is empty, but there's gonna come a day when it's gonna be loaded, and you think it's gonna be empty, and when you pull the trigger, you're gonna get a loud noise. And unfortunately, the reason you practice that you treat guns as if they're loaded at all times, so you're handling it in a safe fashion, and when that day comes and you pull the trigger and you get that loud noise, you're not having to call 911, nobody's bleeding. That's why you treat guns as if they're loaded at all times. It's basically an insurance policy for when that fateful day arrives. And if you handle guns long enough, trust me, you're gonna have a situation, you're gonna pull the trigger, you're gonna get a loud noise when you expect it the least. Hand in hand with that is muzzle awareness. Don't allow your muzzle to cross anything you're not willing to destroy. So when you pick the pistol up or a long gun, you gotta stay switched on where the weapon is pointed. Now, pistols, because of the barrel length, for whatever reason, humans have less situational awareness of where it's pointed at distance. As a matter of fact, past arm's length, humans don't have good situational awareness with pistols. So I can be standing here showing this pistol to you, this FN 509, and have a good idea where it's pointed, but I don't really have good situational awareness at 5 or 10 or 15 yards away. Long guns are a little bit better. Better barrel length, better situational awareness on muzzle awareness, but it's still not perfect, and it's something that you got to heighten your awareness, especially if you go to the range. You may be there with a crowd of people, let's say taking a class from an instructor like me or someone else. You may look over at somebody in their car or back at the loading bench, and they're handling their pistol, sweeping people downrange. You got to stay switched on, handle guns as if they're loaded at all times, maintain situational awareness of the muzzle. And last but not least, the golden rule of firearm safety is finger well away from the trigger guard until you're ready to shoot. Now, when I say that, what I mean is up here. My buddy Ken Hackthorne calls it the register position. For a right-handed shooter, you want to take the index finger, your trigger finger, and put it on the bottom edge of the ejection port. Left-handed shooter, flat against the slide, all right? Now the trigger's in this position for a reason. It's easily accessible by the trigger finger, which also means if you stumble or fall and get the grab reflex going, it's also easy to launch a live round when you don't want to. Putting it in the register position helps prevent that. All right, I hope you got something out of these four safety rules. They're the four basic NRA safety rules, but with a little bit of an LAV flair to them to keep them real. Have a good one, stay safe. Remember, you're a brand ambassador for the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms, so make sure you're flying the flag and doing us proud. Have a good one, LAV out. Hey, Larry Vickers here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click here to subscribe to the Vickers Tactical channel and take time out to check out some of our other favorite videos.